I invite you to close your prayer books just for a few moments or minutes. So I wonder how many of you had occasion yesterday at some point, perhaps around a table with family or friends, to share that for which you are thankful. Anyone? Yeah, raising hands in the room. Not this year. All right, well, ooh. You never know, we shouldn't take it for granted. If you didn't do that, perhaps you gave thought to that for which you were grateful, as the holiday of Thanksgiving tends to invite for us here in America. It's an exercise that where you articulate or express outwardly your feeling of gratitude is one that's invited here in our country, specifically on Thanksgiving. We focus a lot on it. There are television commercials inviting you to think about gratitude and then trying to trick you into buying things because of that, if you haven't noticed that whole Black Friday thing happening all around us, right? But it's an interesting idea to think about this value of the expression of gratitude in our American culture, and then to contrast that with our Judaism and what Judaism teaches us about gratitude. Because unlike our sort of American landscape where we have this big day or season where we might focus on it, gratitude in Judaism is not something reserved for any one day a year. It is in fact a ubiquitous and pervasive value that we're invited to step into all the time. And so on this Shabbat, this day after the holiday of Thanksgiving, I'd like to invite us just to spend a little time reflecting on how we not feel our gratitude, but rather how we show our gratitude, how we give thanks, not just on the holiday that was yesterday, but on every day of the year. And in doing so, I'd want us to focus not just on the idea of the development of an attitude of gratitude, which I've spoken on any number of times here and which any number of our clergy have done, but more importantly, what it means to develop a habit of expressing our gratitude externally and more specifically out loud, from our mouths, spoken, ubiquitously. Because from the Jewish vantage, if not a universal human one, the expression of gratitude serves as the key for each of us to unlocking the doorway to a life of meaning and fulfillment at any and all points throughout our lives. So, there's some shills here, but if you're a shill like Cantor Cone, don't answer the question. I wonder if anyone might know the Hebrew word or expression we say for thank you. Todah! Got it. Also kind of a shill, but we'll take it. Todah, right? You might have heard that before. Todah rabbah, thanks very much, that sort of thing. It comes from a larger word, hoda'ah, and most commonly, hoda'ah means gratitude, but this word also refers to a concession of owing something to someone else. So just think about that for a second. We often don't think about gratitude as something that connects us relationally to something beyond ourselves. In fact, in America, we're actually conditioned to think of it as solely internal to us, something we might experience in and of ourselves entirely of our own will. The concept of hoda'ah puts us essentially in debt to another thing, another person, another entity, what have you. It's a different framing. And to understand this connection, we might look at the English word appreciate. So on one level, appreciate can be an expression of gratitude. I am grateful for, as in I appreciate what you've given me. And on a different level, it can mean I understand, right? I appreciate the distinction between this and that, something along those lines. In English, the two meanings are intuitively connected. I can only be grateful, appreciative, if I first understand or appreciate the gift I've received. So back to the Hebrew, how is gratitude tied to an admission of a debt? And perhaps more importantly, why? So from a Jewish perspective, gratitude doesn't just involve a feeling, it necessarily involves an admission, an acceptance, and an ideally embracing of a reality that we are, in fact, dependent on others for whatever it is that we have or experience. We are part of a community that cares for and relies on the caring of others. A practice of gratitude reminds us that we are not the sole authors of what is good in our lives, but rather that we, in fact, owe a debt to something or someone beyond ourselves for whatever good we experience. Perhaps the one to whom the credit is due is God, or a parent, a partner, a teacher, friend, luck. It doesn't really matter. Because whatever it is, it reminds us that each of us is not a private universe, but rather that all of us are a part of a larger universe in which we are connected and to which we are all responsible. Gratitude matters so much, not just because of its many individual benefits, but more because gratitude sits at the heart of what it means to sustain a society. And each of us is responsible for doing our part. Last week, I spoke about the value of kindness, of chesed in Judaism, as the primary ethical virtue of what it means to practice Jewish living. And I'd like to suggest that right underneath that, at a very close second, is the practice of gratitude. And all we have to do to activate this awareness is to look around us, to notice the good, to practice hakarat hatov, how that goodness came to us, and then intone words of gratitude that articulate that truth. It's not hard. I'm thankful to my family for loving me unconditionally. I'm grateful to my friends for helping me feel known and understood. I'm thankful for my job that allows me to have food on my table. I'm thankful to God for enabling me to live and reach this moment in my life. You see how it goes. It doesn't have to be fancy. It just has to be true. Because it's the expression of that truth in the form of gratitude that holds the key to opening the heart, something so desperately needed in our lives today. Our modern world and modern sensibilities may try to convince us that our self-worth is tied up in our ability to go it alone, do it ourselves, that self-sufficiency should be what matters most. But our spiritual sensibilities should know better. Jewish self-worth is rooted in the idea that our ultimate value, our greatest fulfillment, comes from being part of a community built on a model of generosity and of caring, not of independence, but of interdependence, and even more, of just plain old dependence. It's not a bad word. We've forgotten that lately. And make no mistake, this dependence on that which is outside of ourselves, it's not a weakness. What it is a demonstration of our understanding of the greatest and deepest truth, that we are really never alone. Ultimately, being grateful and expressing it is core to what it means to be Jewish. You may know that the Hebrew word for Jew is Yehudi. Do you hear Hoda'ah and Yehudi? Same root. What that means is being Jewish is embedded in identity with gratitude and thankfulness. And it lets us know just how important a practice of this sort should be to us, not just on days with football games and turkey, but each and every day. Let's make a commitment to keep our eyes open to the blessings that abound in our lives all the time. And when we see those blessings, to speak them and give thanks to their providers. We'll change the way that we experience life, not only for ourselves, but for everyone we encounter along the way. Every Amidah, one of the prayers in it, is called Hoda'ah, thanksgiving. It's the opportunity every time we say or sing this prayer to contemplate what we're grateful for and to offer it in prayerful language. So we'll transition back into our prayer book to Selah, page 58, 6 lines up from the bottom of the page. Just before we go to sing it, I want to invite you to think about that for which you're thankful. And it's a small and intimate group here in the sanctuary, so I'm going to invite us to practice together the practice that I just shared, and to actually share that for which we are grateful. If you're not here with us in the sanctuary, you have access to the chat feature, either on StreamSpot or Facebook. We'd invite you to type it in there. What are you grateful for? But here in the sanctuary, I'll invite you, if you're here, you're feeling brave and daring, it's a safe space to share a little bit. No pressure. I'm going to repeat some of these. Grateful for every day we wake up and see ourselves in the mirror because we are alive, and every day is a great day for that. Thankful for health, thankful for family. Each and every breath. Thankful for the wonderful family you have. Freedom. For being a Jewish person in America. For being able to give and receive love and support. To be able to walk into synagogue oneself and to be very comfortable around all the people you know and don't know. Grateful to be able to see some friends. So much for, oh, we got more, good. I'm grateful for you. I was going to say I'm grateful for the ability to be with everyone here, wherever we are, to participate in a ritual that has held our people together for more time than we can imagine, and to know that no matter how this ritual has been marked, somehow we get the gift of being here, breathing, free, Jewish people and people who love them in community, not alone, together.